It's Allie with Trash Talk, Franklin County Solid Waste. Today we're talking about the next R in waste management, recycle. In Franklin County and the city of Frankfort, our recycling goes to the Lexington Fayette Urban City Government Municipal Recycling Facility. There, they take types 1 and 2 plastic bottles, jugs, and jars. Taking the plastic film, like the wrapping, off these types of items is actually really helpful for the recycling facility. What about plastic clamshell containers types 1 and 2? Does this mean they're recyclable because we take type 1 and 2 plastic? No. Cups and clamshell containers are not compatible with recycling machinery. This is why we only take bottles, jugs, and jars. Think about anything that could have a lid on it or has like a bottleneck. The Lexington Recycling Center takes all types of paper and cardboard. This includes glossy mailers, newspaper, colored paperboard like for soda boxes, waxy freezer boxes, colored paper, magazines, pretty much anything is acceptable. A question I get is, do I need to remove tape or staples when recycling paper or cardboard? The answer is no. These types of materials get sorted out in the paper recycling process. Any piece of paper or cardboard bigger than a credit card is good to be recycled. So small scraps of paper, you want to compost those if you can, throw those away. Anything bigger than a credit card will be recycled. They also take glass bottles, jugs, and jars, and aluminum cans, canisters, and lids. Does this mean you can take your glass Pyrex that you don't want anymore and put it in the recycling bin? No. Think about anything that's a food or beverage specific packaging item. What about the tops of aluminum cans, like when you open a can of tuna and you have that loose piece on the top? You want to try to put that piece of the can, the lid, back inside the container and crimp the top of the can closed if possible. This way it can still get recycled, but it won't fall out during the process. If you put loose aluminum can lids in the recycling cart, they're going to fall out and they're not going to be properly recycled. Also, they're sharp, so that's kind of a risk for our waste workers. The Lexington Recycling Center also currently accepts food and beverage cartons. Think about OJ cartons, juice boxes, what chicken broth usually comes in, paper milk cartons from a school lunch. If it has a cap on it, leaving the cap on is preferred. You may be wondering why recycling rules have changed over the years. They used to not take glass at one point, paper recycling was paused. What can be recycled all depends on if the recycling facility has a buyer for that product at the moment. Our current list of what's recyclable in this community is pretty extensive, and that's because the Lexington Recycling Facility has plenty of buyers for all of these items. Maybe you know of another community that takes yogurt cups type 5 containers, but we don't, and that means that community has a buyer for type 5 plastics and we don't. At certain times, like during COVID, the recycling facility may lose the buyer of a product like glass, which is why those types of collection were paused. One last note about recycling: never bag your recyclables. Plastic bags get caught in recycling machinery and can clog the whole system. Place your relatively clean, relatively dry recyclables with the lids on preferred, loose in your recycling bin. If you live in the county, those are the red carts with the black lid. If you live in city limits, those are the black carts with the blue lid. If you don't already recycle, please consider doing so. We'd really appreciate your help diverting waste from the landfill and giving some of these items a second life. That's all I have now for recycling. Thanks for tuning in to Trash Talk.